I'm not telling you what to write down. I'm just passing on what I've been asked to share with you.
We're here
Thank
at
you
the
again.
National Convention for LULAC at the presidential debate between Domingo
I'm going to read the
Garcia and his
rules,
opponent.
and these are the official rules that both candidates have agreed to. And so we're going to abide by these rules. These are the rules for this debate. There will be no shouting from the floor. If you disagree with a statement being made, I would ask you to please refrain, both against or in favor. That is one of the official rules. There will be no display of favoritism from the floor. Le respeto para los dos. Here's the next rule. All applause should be held until the end of the program. And any person disrupting the event will be asked to leave the event. In a few moments, I'm going to introduce the candidates. We will give their name, their city, and their state. Has there been a coin toss? If not, we need to have a coin toss to see who is going to go first. Who has a coin? There's not be a trick coin. Can we see a trick coin? All right. Sir, if you will flip the coin. And gentlemen, will you call the coin toss in the air? Call it. Heads, Domingo Garcia. Who goes first?
Daryl Morin.
Daryl Morin will go first. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the rules. A coin toss before the debate determines the order of the opening statement. The other candidate, in this case Domingo Garcia, has the final word in the closing remarks.
Wait, actually, it's the person who goes first goes last. Who does it? Or?
That's not the way it's written in these rules.
Okay, that's fine.
Unless you guys wish to change that, the way it is written is the way I've read it. Is that okay with you?
That's fine.
So that the person who goes first today is Gerald. The person who will then close the debate is the other candidate, that is Domingo. All questions are to be submitted in writing. There are two people that I see here. Are these the two people? Please identify yourselves.
Yes. Jose Ruano.
Rico Valina over here. And Clarissa Cruz. Okay, these are the three people taking questions. The questions, which will be handed to me, please listen to this. Questions deemed to be fair and relevant by this three-member panel will be handed to the moderator, who will then ask the questions. Questions will be alternated between the candidates. The person who loses the coin toss gets the first question. So after the opening remarks by Mr. Morin, followed by Mr. Garcia, the first question will be addressed to Mr. Garcia. Next point. 2 minutes will be given to the person who is answering the question. 2 minutes rebuttal from the other candidate. There will be no other rebuttals except those two. Una declaración y alguien que le sigue. At closing, when there are 4 minutes left, I will notify you that there are 4 minutes left. Mr. Morin will go first with his closing remarks. Mr. Garcia will close with his closing remarks. Each of them will have 2 minutes. Gentlemen, do you have any questions? Are we ready? No cell phones. Close them. You can record if you want, just please, no interruption. Will we kindly, in respect to the candidates, can we close the door? Para que se escuche. Okay, damas y caballeros, I will now turn the floor over for 2 minutes. Let me get my clock here in order. I have a stopwatch. Gentlemen, when your time expires, I will simply say your time is up. If you continue to speak, I will then say your time is up. And I will be doing that until you stop. Is that okay?
Can you give us a 15-second notice?
Absolutely. I will raise my hand if that is okay. That'll give me 15 seconds. Everybody happy?
Yes.
Gracias. So good to see so many people here. Vamos a empezar. Mr. Morin, Daryl Morin from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, will go first. Ladies and gentlemen, the first of your 2 national LULAC president candidates for the 89th Annual Convention of the League of United Latin American Citizens 2018 aquí en Phoenix, Arizona. Mr. Morin, you have the floor.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I can't tell you how excited this is for me. Many of us have been saying that we need to have these types of forums at every LULAC National Convention for every position, national position that's held. So I'm very excited. I'm really appreciative of all of you who have come in from all over the country to come and participate shortly, immediately following this session here. We're going to be going into a platform discussion with regards to policies for the coming year. So I want to thank all of you for spending your time and treasure to come here to the LULAC convention and for all the work you've done throughout the year. Also, I want to thank my compadre here, Domingo Garcia. Anybody who runs for the position of LULAC National President deserves a certain degree of respect. So I want to thank you for running and for coming here today. I want to thank David and our distinguished panel here. We're going on 2 minutes, so I just want to say it's been my honor to serve in the league for over 15 years. I've led countless delegations on behalf of the league on immigration, LGBTQ issues, Puerto Rico, education, healthcare, immigration, DACA, Dreamers, the list just goes on and on. It's also been my pleasure and great honor to work on the issues we've had within the league that I think we all know exist. You know, from the rule that I got passed that brought civility to the delegate floor, which I think we all understand, to the conflict of interest policy that I put in that really helped to clean up things. I guess my proudest achievement, though, inside of LULAC is leading the fight to get electronic voting. I think that's something that really defends the dignity and the membership and your rights for everyone, and I think everyone would agree it's been to great benefit of the league. That being said, I'm very interested to hear your questions with regards to LULAC, advocacy, and how we grow moving forward. Thank you all once again. God bless.
Please hold the applause. Let's get into the habit right off the top. No applause to either candidate so that we can maintain decorum in the meeting. Next we will go with the second national candidate for president, Mr. Domingo Garcia from Dallas, Texas. Let me just say something to you. I can do it this way. If you do that, that time will be removed from your candidate. It's up to you. Look, wait a moment. No, we're not going to have that kind of a situation. Wait a moment. I read the rules at the top. If you were not here, then I am so sorry, but you didn't get here on time. I am not entertaining questions from the floor. This is the real, we agreed to these rules. If we're going to deviate from them, then the candidate, your candidate, is going to take the beating for it. I had already given him his time to start, but he would be unfairly treated for your outburst. If you want me to do that, I'll do that. But I need to hear from them. What do you want?
Come on. David, come on.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to reset.
Thank you.
You have the floor.
All right, my name is Domingo Garcia, and I am applying to be your national president of LULAC. And I'm going to tell you my resume because I think it's important that you know who you're voting for. I am the son of a 17-year-old teenage mother and a 21-year-old undocumented immigrant from Mexico. By any stretch of imagination, my career should not have been where I got to. I'm the first one in my family of 7 to graduate from high school. I worked my way through college as a waiter and as a bartender, and graduated from the University of North Texas with a degree in political science. I was statewide president of MECHA as a 21-year-old and went throughout Texas organizing MECHA chapters to help get more Latinos into college. I went to law school. I paid my way through law school at Thurgood Marshall School of Law, which is the only African-American historically school in Texas because the Anglo schools wouldn't take me because my last name was Garcia. But I went for it, and I went and moved along, and at age 31, I was elected as the first Latino to Dallas City Council, and I was proud to do that, and became the first Latino mayor pro tem in the city of Dallas.
Yeah.
And while I was there, I passed the first stalking ordinance to protect women from domestic violence. I passed and created the first Latino Cultural Arts Center in the United States of America to support our cultura and our culture and our history. I then went forward and I was elected state representative. And I passed House Bill 1403, which created in-state tuition for every Latino for every citizen and non-citizen to graduate from a Texas high school to pay in-state tuition. That was the first DREAM Act in the history of the United States of America, and it is now the law in 19 states. As 2006, we had 500,000 people who marched to Dallas, Texas for immigration reform, and I gave President Obama, after 4 meetings, the language to create DACA, which he signed, and I'm proud of that, because that created the Dreamers of today. And I want to make sure that LULAC takes all its dreams.
Yeah.
I have to repeat again. I'm sorry, I want to be fair to both, that's all. That's my role. I want to be fair to both. Quiero ser justo con los dos. Now let me explain to you the way I'm taking these questions. I am asking the questions the way they have been handed to me. So I'm only repeating the questions they have screened. This is a neutral group of 3 individuals that both candidates accepted. Mr. Garcia, you have the first question. You will have 2 minutes, followed by Mr. Morin, who will have 2 minutes. The question is, what is your plan for all the dreamers?
I just told you that I passed the in-state tuition bill. By the way, when I did it, I also passed a bill that would give every immigrant in Texas the right to get a driver's license. And I remember Governor Perry being there with his cowboy boots on his desk saying, Domingo, I'm going to veto one of these bills. Which one do you want me to veto? Yeah. And I said, you can't veto the kids. And that started this. And that's why I believe that we need to finish the job that we started in 2001. We need to put those dreamers across the finish line. We need to make sure that their American dream that is etched on the Statue of Liberty, give me your 400 masses, your to be free, the American creed, that we comply with that. And LULAC, as the #1 civil rights organization, is going to make sure that happens. And if I'm your national president, I'm going to knock on whoever door is at the White House, whoever door is in the Senate and Congress, and we're going to get it done.
All right, your time still continues, but
I pass.
That's fine. All right, well, that's fine. Let me go ahead and then give the reset here. All right, Mr. Morin, the same question. What is your plan for all the dreamers?
So I can share with you, I've already been knocking on those doors and getting in those doors. Even since my campaign started, I've been to Washington, D.C. 5 times. I've met with people in leadership on both sides of the aisle. I can get a hold in a meeting with Nancy Pelosi's office as well as Speaker Ryan's. And whoever complains and says access isn't a good thing doesn't have it. I can also share with you that I've been meeting with the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. And they're saying, where is LULAC on the Hill? Right? It seems like all your efforts have gone only to this campaign. For those of you who were there, I pretty much lived in D.C. December through February. We ran a comprehensive campaign against leadership on social media and collected analytics. I can tell you right now, 2.5 or 250% of the people who like even Mitch McConnell's page are in favor of passing a pathway to citizenship for DACA recipients. Right? We need to start looking and advocating in new different ways. Just simply walking the halls of Congress by itself doesn't work. Right? I'm sure many of you saw our new billboard campaign that we launched. So yes, we can adhere to the things we've done in the past, but we also need to transition and evolve into the second generation of LULAC that uses technology, uses the power and strength of our young people to help them help us grant them a path to citizenship. Because this president isn't only attacking immigrants, He is attacking brown people. Look how he's treating the people in Puerto Rico. Look how he's talking about immigrants, against DACA, etc. It is time we stop looking at this as segments. He is attacking Latinos across the board. And we need to start working together so we can start growing again, because as we grow as an organization, so will our power and influence in Washington, D.C.
The next question is for Mr. Morin. It is this: will you accept an honorarium if elected?
No, I made that very clear. I believe I was the first candidate to go public with my candidacy. No, I will refuse that. It's a great honor to serve as LULAC National President. The one stipulation I put in the video, for those of you who saw it, I'd like to see half of that money go in scholarships to help our promising Latino youth and young adults go into the profession and go to law school, with the only request being that they come back. That being said, we've seen over $580,000 in the budgeted funds spent last year, right? With that fund, we can have in-house counsel. We can have a permanent, full-time lobbyist having these relationships and working our issues full-time. It is time we stop taking the resources to serve those at the top and make sure it's being delivered in services and programs and resources to the councils that are really doing the work and our membership. So no, there's a complete fiscal and financial overhaul that we need to do. I will also ensure, many of you know the position we're in, that the first year of my administration, we're holding monthly webinars and conference calls so that you know the state of the organization and how we're spending the money. It's not ours, it's yours. And that's a commitment we should all be willing to make to you.
I will ask the same question after resetting my clock. Mr. Garcia, will you accept an honorarium if elected?
Hay dichos y hay hechos. When I was elected as a state representative for the state of Texas in 1996, I donated my entire salary as a state representative for scholarships for people graduating from high schools in my district. I did that in 1996, not 2018, when I'm running for LULAC president. Because I believe you lead by example. When you show the people what you stand for, quién eres y tú quién andas, that's when people start respecting us. They need to know that LULAC is corruption-free. They need to know that LULAC is transparent, honest, and ethical.
Right.
So yes, I will not only give up my $60,000 a year stipend as president, but I will give it back to the young people, to the future of LULAC, in the form of scholarships, in the form of creating merge councils and conferences where people can get together and not only lobby in Washington, but lobby their school board, lobby their city council, lobby their state legislature. Because that's how we make a difference. And you lead by example. El que es honesto, el que es limpio, la gente lo sigue.
That's right.
That's what I want to do.
That's right.
One moment. In this manner, which is the top, which is the bottom? Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Again, I am asking the questions as they are handed to me. The next question will alternate. We go back to Mr. Morin. What is your plan to grow LULAC within our schools across the nation?
So I will just say this, as you said before, you can just look at the past to see what people done. Just so you're aware, this year I will have topped, my wife and I need to give her credit, donations of over $1 million to schools in need throughout Wisconsin. We give heavily to the Alzheimer's Association and the Juvenile Diabetes Resource Foundation. So some of you ask, why haven't I done more in this campaign? Because I believe that this campaign should be run on good ideas and integrity, and I don't need to spend those types of funds here. So just to let you know, I'm not in this for any kind of money or personal privilege. With regards to growth, we implemented a plan, and I'd like to expand it nationally, where we actually have a formal youth curriculum that we can take and use to get into the schools. A curriculum that develops and inherits pride in self and pride in culture, that leads people to give community service or to have a service to community, that provides them teamwork and leadership skills, and that tells them it's okay not only to go to college, but to go to the trade schools, etc., because there's plenty of family providing jobs out there across the board. So once again, a plan that develops leadership and teamwork skills, pride in self and character, that takes us through the community service work and more. It's been far too long that we've had them as an independent segment, but we need to give them capacity building so that they will go on to become our young adult LULACers and then move on to become adult LULACers.
Thank you. I will repeat the question for Mr. Garcia. What is your plan to grow LULAC within our schools across the nation?
Again, I want to go back to ¿qué ha hecho? Si sabes de dónde vengo, sabes para dónde voy. In Dallas, Texas, Townview High School is #1 rated high school in the United States of America. It has a LULAC chapter with over 200 members. I spoke at their Cinco de Mayo. All of them, my comadre up there in the back, is over there as that chapter. And every one of those LULAC members is going to college, okay? That's what we need to do. And that's not the only one. North Dallas High School, high schools across the Dallas area, we put them there. We work with our administration to get them done. But this is my commitment. I want every high school in America to have a LULAC chapter. I want every university, University of Notre Dame, Harvard, Yale, Stanford, UT, San Antonio, everyone to have a LULAC council. Because I want, at the end of my term, for 50% of LULACers to be under the age of 50. I want a new generation of LULAC. And that's how we do it. We grow our own. We grow from the inside. And I want to raise our current budget, for those of you who don't know, is $5 million. I want to raise our LULAC budget to $100 million. Y quiero tener los 100 en cada estado. Los 100 van a ser the highly motivated 20 and 30-year-old organizers that will go out there to the campuses and the high schools and the communities and get LULAC back on the map as the #1 civil rights organization of America and the #1 organization for 55 million Latinos in the United States of Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question, because the rule says alternate between candidates, so that both candidates have a fair and equal time to think and to respond. I will alternate now and go to Mr. Garcia first. Next question from the audience. If you win, how do you plan to improve LULAC and support the people?
#1, as I stated earlier, right now LULAC has about 14,000 members. And how many of those are active and really there? I don't know. I want to grow it to 1 million members. I want to have the ability for any person in the United States of America and in Puerto Rico to get their cell phone, punch in their name, their address, their zip code, pay $20 and become a LULAC member, and they get a text back that says, you are now a member of the LULAC Council in California or Florida or New York or Puerto Rico, and you are now going to this meeting. We grow LULAC to 1 million members at $20 each. Think about the war chest we have. Think about the political power we have. I want to be stronger than AIPAC. For those of you who don't know AIPAC, AIPAC is the committee that represents the Jewish community in the United States of America. We have 55 million of us. We have entrepreneurs. We have young professionals. We have people that run their own businesses. We need to get them back into LULAC. That's how LULAC got started in 1929. It was doctors and lawyers and pharmacists. Y el que tenía la tiendita aquí en la esquina. That was LULAC. They fought and they got together. That's how we're going to grow LULAC, and that's how we're going to make it better and stronger than ever. And I think we can do this. We already have the basis. All of you that are here, you know somebody. Tienen los compadres, las comadres, los tíos, las tías, los primos. Get them back to LULAC. I had one lady who came here and said, I haven't been to LULAC conference, national conference, in 20 years, but I'm coming because of you. I want there to be hundreds of thousands of people who come back to LULAC and see LULAC es la familia de Estados Unidos de todos los latinos.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to, and I want to thank the audience for your kindness. I want to repeat the question for Mr. Morin. If you win, how do you plan to improve LULAC and support the people?
So thank you very much for that question. It's probably the most important question that's going to be asked today. As of the end of February, we're actually a little less than 5,000 members. And a lot of those weren't active members as well. When people continue to see the issues that happen within LULAC, that is what drives them away. If you look at the co-founder of United We Dream, ex-collegiate LULAC member who got tired, who felt that their human dignity, their membership rights were being protected. When you look at Puerto Latino, some of their founders as well. So if we're going to be successful in growing, if we're going to be the champions of human dignity, we need to start by respecting each other. Make sure that rules are applied equally and enforced equally, right? Building each other up instead of tearing each other down. When I look at our brothers and sisters in Puerto Rico, we should all be bending over backwards to get them the resources they need. I was just there, and there were still the techos azules, the blue canopy roofs there, right? Diabetics who can't store insulin in a refrigerator because they don't have reliable electricity, right? As well as advocate for our members in the LGBTQ community, our veterans, etc. And obviously our DACA recipients as more. But it starts with defending each other, the human dignity of each other. And then from a growth perspective, I'm sure many of you saw the program we implemented in Iowa. It was followed by Univision, Telemundo, CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News. We, with the assistance of Joe Henry here, we led the largest voting drive, successful voting drive in LULAC history. We went from 2,800 people who participated in the caucuses to 13,200. Nobody even came close to that. And with those lists we created along the way, those are the people we want to have engaged in LULAC as well. People with influence, people who want to be joining and make a difference. So we've actually laid out a 10-year plan, by how to get to 1 million members. So.
Next question. This will go to Mr. Garcia. It's a two-part question. What is your position on immigration issues? How can we be united to, it says, to protect our immigrant communities? And what does it mean, collective power? I'm sorry, I cannot read your writing completely. I apologize, but let me again repeat the question to the best of my ability. What is your position on immigration issues? How can we be united to protect our immigrant communities? And what does it mean, collective power? Mr. Garcia, you will begin.
I think it's very important that LULAC is on the front lines at every level, standing up for immigration reform. There are 14 million Latinos in the United States of America right now who are asking only for one little thing, el sueño americano, the American dream. They are building America every day. They probably they picked the food that you ate today. Mm-hmm. They prepared the food that you ate today, and they're cleaning the toilets and cleaning the bathrooms that we're, the hotels that we're staying at. Those people who, through their sweat, their tears, and their blood are building America deserve an opportunity. And we as LULAC, as the largest membership Latino organization in America, even with the numbers that are dwindling, can do that. And therefore, I think that once we flex our political muscle, once we have economic and political empowerment, we can pass immigration reform at all levels. And I believe that we're on the cusp of doing that. Now, when we have a president who believes that it's okay to put babies in cages, and I was in McAllen, Texas, with several of y'all that were here, when an immigration bus came out of a shelter, and this was a prison bus, the type that you send hardcore prisoners to, with bars. And I saw 5-year-olds holding the bars, looking at us. I had to get in front of the bus. And dozens of people got in front of that bus, and we made that bus turn around. Now, we won that little victory, but we were LULAC. We were president. And I want LULAC to be president from now on, all the time. When the news turns on, ¿quién está hablando por los latinos? Es LULAC. ¿Quién está pasando la reforma migratoria? LULAC. ¿Quién está por la raza? LULAC. And that's what I want to do as your national president.
Thank you. The next question.
Well, actually, you didn't.
Oh, excuse me, I apologize. Mr. Morin, the question will be, what is your position on immigration issues? How can we be united to, now I see, respect and protect our immigrant communities? And what does it mean, collective power?
So thank you very much for that question. As I've said, I have and I continue to be going almost once a month to Washington, D.C. to work on this issue. Not that I need to be president to do so. This is something we need to come together on. Obviously, there is no defending this president. He is anti-Latino, he's anti-brown people. He is just full of hate. There's no defending him. Right? This issue, though, transcends party. I can tell you, I was there in the White House when we were promised, when we received an apology for not having immigration reform in the first 100 days. But we were promised, right there in the White House, that as soon as the ACA passed, once we helped them pass it, that they would send the legislation to the Hill the next day. They never did. Then we went and we said, well, at least pass the DREAM Act. And they didn't do that. With a supermajority in the House and the Senate and the White House, it is time we need to start fighting community first and holding all elected officials, regardless of party, accountable for their actions and non-actions. We are a powerful force here. We need to register to vote, even more than we've already done so, and hold everybody accountable. We all know what needs to be done. I've heard from congressional leaders on both sides of the aisle, House and Senate, yes, we torpedoed this. That should be unacceptable. We need to stop being willing to be played by both sides against one another. We need to hold them all equally accountable. That being said, my position isn't the one that my position on the issue isn't the one that counts here. It's yours. Immediately following the session, we're going to have the platform debate. And whatever you guys decide is what we need to commit, and I do pledge to adhere to, so we don't have this issue with letters being sent to this president saying that we're willing to make his vision for America a reality.
Your time is up. The next question is in Espanol.
There you go.
This question will go to Mr. Garcia first. The question is, el titular dice Puerto Rico. ¿Cuál es su compromiso y plan de acción afirmativo para garantizar la igualdad de los derechos civiles de los puertorriqueños? Número 1. Número 2. Entiendo que hay violación de derechos civiles al ser puertorriqueños segunda clase, al no votar por el presidente y derecho a fondos. Señor García, usted primero.
Primero quiero que todos reconocen que aquí nosotros tenemos una héroe de Puerto Rico. Aquí está la alcaldesa de Ponce, Maita, la quiero reconocer. Si pueden ella levantó su voz en contra de este presidente cuando no estaban tratando a los puertorriqueños con el derecho y el respeto y la dignidad que merecen. Son ciudadanos americanos igual que todos nosotros y se deben que respetar de esa manera. Necesitamos la igualdad para todos y eso es algo que el Puerto Rico tiene que decidir. El LULAC debe hacer la voz por Puerto Rico aquí en Estados Unidos. Si yo soy presidente del LULAC, yo voy a luchar y pelear para que todos los puertorriqueños tengan la igualdad que merecen y que deben de tener y no ser ciudadanos de segunda clase. Segundo, vi un video en Facebook donde una mujer traía una camisa con la bandera de Puerto Rico y un hombre lo estaba atacando, diciendo no debes de traer esa camiseta aquí en Estados Unidos. Vergüenza y vergüenza en este presidente que ha levantado este tipo de actitud, no solamente contra mexicanos y dominicanos, pero con puertorriqueños que son parte de este país. Y yo les doy la promesa a todos los que están aquí de Puerto Rico y que son puertorriquenses aquí en Estados Unidos. Yo voy a ser su voz, voy a hablar por ustedes. Y esta organización, LULAC, the League of United Latin American Citizens, va a ser de todos igualmente.
Voy a repetir la pregunta para el señor Morín. La pregunta, señor Morín, viene de Puerto Rico. Número 1, ¿cuál es su compromiso y plan de acción afirmativa para garantizar la igualdad de los derechos civiles de los puertorriqueños? Y dice, número 2, entiendo que hay violación de derechos civiles al ser puertorriqueños segunda clase, al no votar por el presidente y derechos a fondos federales en igualdad con otros estados. Señor Morín.
Gracias por esa pregunta. Pues voy a comenzar diciendo, yo tengo videos en YouTube de los problemas que están teniendo y que no tienen igualdad en la isla. Yo fui para allá, hablé con muchos de ustedes y los alcaldes en varias ciudades, tomando fotos y video, no para ir y para tener fiestas y tomar y hablar con los miembros de LULAC, para ir para mirar qué está pasando. Y después de eso, ¿para dónde fui? Yo fui para el capital, para el Congreso. Ellos estaban diciendo, no, Fimi dice, todo está bueno, todo está bueno. Y yo fui ahí con mis fotos y con el video, mira todos los techos azules. Mira aquí donde todavía no tiene electricidad. Mira estos bebitos que necesitan más. Y estoy leyendo la promesa también. Y todas las cosas que está haciendo la isla. Y no hay ni un lugar en esa promesa donde dice que van a hacer para mandar trabajos y negocios a la isla. Y cuando yo estaba ahí también, tenía una misa para las 7 gente que murieron en la Air National Guard. Puertorriqueños se mataron porque quieren dar su vida para este país. Y no pueden votar en nuestras elecciones nacionales. No tenemos que cambiar esto. Yo fui para el Congreso cuando mandaron la propuesta para hacer la isla un estado. Cada vez que voy para Washington, D.C., estoy luchando para la isla. Y no nomás ahorita cuando estoy en la campaña, pero por años. Y cuando María pegó a la isla, ¿quién fue para ganar $300,000 para mandarlo a la isla? ¿Quién llenó 9 trocas llenas de comida y ropa para mandarlo a la isla? Año y año estoy haciéndolo y los videos están ahí en Facebook para los que no creen. Si estoy haciendo el trabajo, estoy luchando para ustedes. Gracias.
La siguiente pregunta también es en español, es esta, señor García. Perdón, esta pregunta la voy a hacer para el señor Morín primero para alternar la secuencia. To alternate the sequence, this question goes to you first, sir. Señor Morín, ¿cuál es su agenda para mejorar la calidad de vida de los de la tercera edad, incluyendo a los de Puerto Rico? Número 2, LULAC necesita desarrollar líderes para nuestra nación y para LULAC. ¿Cuál es su estrategia para aumentar la participación de jóvenes y adultos? Señor Morín.
Primero quería ir para atrás a la primera pregunta también. Hay otra cosa. Jesús Menzo Pérez de la isla volvió con su familia para descansar. Y un hombre lo mató. Puso una carabina a la cara y lo mató delante de su familia. ¿Por qué? Porque este hombre, Jesús, habló español a su hijo. Y este hombre lo mató. Y la familia tenía tanto miedo, no querían hablar con nadie. La policía de Milwaukee me llamaron y dicen, mira, Daryl, hay una familia aquí que está sufriendo y necesitamos saber qué pasó, ¿puedes ayudarnos? Y por la ayuda de Dios, no sé por qué, no los conozco, pero levantaron el teléfono cuando ella llamó. Y nosotros ayudamos con la policía, con las escuelas, dándole dinero. Nos movieron a un hotel porque no querían quedar donde estaban viviendo.
Perdón, point of order, el señor Morín, con todo respeto. La pregunta no se trata de ese caso. Si usted quiere hacer ese comentario, en los comentarios de cierre, siéntase libre. Sin embargo, ya gastó usted 1 minuto y 3 segundos. ¿Okay? Entonces no voy a repetir la pregunta, le voy a dar el resto de su tiempo. Por favor, diríjase a la pregunta si se puede.
Ya.
Gracias, muy amable. Voy a empezar aquí la pregunta. Vamos pues.
Tenemos que trabajar juntos. Hace 3 meses de la vicepresidenta de los Young Adults salió. Porque hay mucha gente aquí que creen que no puedes lamentar. Sí, nomás puedes lamentar hasta aquí, que no te dan chance para lamentar. También no hay tantos young adults aquí porque esta carta que fue a la presidenta. Necesitamos dar respeto a todos, sin mirar los años que tienen. Tenemos que dar respeto a todos y poner un programa para enseñarlos cómo entrar al Congreso y los negocios grandes. que pueden sentar en las mesas directivas de las corporaciones grandes.
Voy a repetir la pregunta para el señor García. La pregunta es, ¿cuál es su agenda para mejorar la calidad de vida de la tercera edad, incluyendo a los de Puerto Rico? Sigue la pregunta. LULAC necesita desarrollar líderes para nuestra nación y para LULAC. ¿Cuál es su estrategia para aumentar la participación de jóvenes y adultos? Señor García.
Hay un dicho, camarón que se duerme.
Se le lleva la corriente.
Por mucho tiempo, nuestra comunidad tenemos muchos dormidos, hasta unos ancianos que están aquí. ¿Okay? Es importante que los ancianos, la gente de la tercera edad, que han luchado y peleado, que vieron los signs que decía no Mexicans, no niggers, no dogs allowed, como mi padre.
Yeah.
Esa generación que ha luchado y peleado y que sabían cuando había poll taxes, cuando había varios problemas que estaban causando, que lo respetamos y lo reconocemos. Y cuando este presidente y este Congreso quiere cortar el seguro social, LULAC tiene que estar ahí presente y decir no. Y elegir candidatos que van a representar y apoyar a nuestra comunidad. Acerca de la juventud y de los jóvenes, como les dije desde el principio, yo quiero tener algo, un LULAC que está abierto. Necesitamos que pasar de, ¿sabes qué? Este es un niño mocoso que no lo vamos a respetar. Digo que este es un niño que necesita ayuda, que le vamos a dar la mano, que lo vamos a entrenar y enseñar cómo ser líder en el futuro.
Right.
Que es lo que debe de ser LULAC. Esta generación de LULAC tiene que pasar la
Batuta.
batuta a nuestra juventud.
That's right.
Porque así sigue LULAC. Vamos a cumplir 90 años de historia. 90 años. ¿Cuántas organizaciones en Estados Unidos tienen 89 años de edad? Ninguna. Nosotros vamos a cumplir 90 el año que viene. Y yo quiero que LULAC cumple 190 años de edad. Y eso quiere decir que esos jóvenes que están acá atrás, que están en high school, que están en el colegio, sean nuestros futuros. Y eso quiere decir que nosotros como LULAC les damos el entrenamiento y las posiciones de poder real para que cambien a LULAC para el mejor. Y que llegamos a 1 millón.
Yes.
Y que llegamos a 100 millones de dólares en nuestra fondos. Y que seamos el número 1 organización de derechos civiles en Estados Unidos.
That's right.
Okay. La siguiente pregunta. This goes to Mr. Morin. Mr. Morin, if after this debate you are convinced that your opponent is better prepared, would you concede and let him be the elected president by acclamation? You have 2 minutes.
Yeah, we'd have no issues with that.
Yeah.
I will share with you that it was my intention, it was my hope. This wasn't a position I ever aspired to. Este no es una cosa que yo estaba trabajando toda mi vida porque yo quería estar, presidente de LULAC. Estoy aquí porque todos los problemas que estamos teniendo. Cuando miro un miembro hablar mal de otro miembro en la manera que están haciéndolo, cuando hay un derecho que das a este miembro, pero no a este miembro, algo está mal. No tengo un problema con eso, pero estoy aquí porque yo creo que yo soy la persona que tiene la carácter, la integridad y la experiencia adentro de LULAC, mirando todos los problemas. I mentioned before I passed or worked and fought and led the fight to get electronic voting. I was also selected during a very turbulent time to do the governance study of this organization because we all knew there was foundational issues that needed to be addressed. And even in that turbulent time, by unanimous vote of a very divisive board, they said, Daryl, you are the most independent person here and best prepared to lead this governance study. So I received a unanimous vote. Sadly, when I had to step down because of the illness of my mother and my brother, I wasn't able to see it through. Those governance recommendations are still sitting in a drawer today. And that is one of the reasons that we still continue to have los problemas que tenemos hoy. Tenemos que, si quieres hacer un casa grande, necesitas un foundation muy fuerte, donde todos pueden ir ahí y tener una voz y tener un voto y que todos están iguales. Todos tenemos que estar iguales.
Your time's up. I want to repeat the question. Mr. Garcia, if after this debate you are convinced that your opponent is better prepared, would you concede and let him be the elected president by acclamation?
I believe in democracy. I believe that the power lies in the assembly of LULAC. Every one of you has and have fought your own little battles. I joined LULAC in 1983, okay? How many of you were born after 1983? Just curious. Okay? I thought some of the people that that wasn't true. All right, but the reason I tell you that is because I believe in this organization. It's an organization, it's the largest Latino organization in the United States that's membership-based. It's the oldest Latino organization in the United States. I want everybody to be proud to say they're from LULAC. I want people to say, I want to join LULAC. I want LULAC to be cool. Que sea chévere. You know, que sea a toda madre. Que LULAC comes back, you know, and becomes something you want to join and be part of. And when we talk about the League of United, think about that, united Latin American citizens, that's what we should fight for. I agree with my opponent here. We should be united. The fights among ourselves over, you know, quién es el papá de quién, y quién es el VP de aquello, y quién es el presidente de acá. We need to stop that. We need to focus on the big pictures. We have big problems. People want to build walls between the United States and Mexico. They want to put little boys and girls in cages and say that's fair. They want to take away the rights of our people to vote through voter suppression. LULAC needs to stand up for that. And if there is somebody else that can lead LULAC, that's charismatic and strong and forthright and honest and has integrity and can stand up to President Trump and to this Congress and to all the crooked politicians in the state capitals, then I will support that candidate. But right now, I think I'm the best one.
Yeah. Woo!
You're doing good, LULAC.
Yeah.
Keep it that way.
Sí se puede.
You don't like dessert.
Adelante con Domingo.
I know how we like our dessert. Next question. We will begin again with Mr. Garcia and then continue with Mr. Morin. The first question goes to you, sir, and it is this. What are your thoughts and plans to maintain solvency in LULAC's treasury? Senor Garcia.
All right, first of all, I think it's time that, look, we've had problems, I'm not gonna lie, we've had problems with that. I think that we should, every budget, when I become national president, will be online. I want you to know how much money I spent on my airplane tickets, how much I spent on a hotel room. I'm not gonna stay at a presidential suite, guys. I'm gonna stay at the Holiday Inn, okay? I'm not gonna spend money on first class tickets, I'm gonna let it die. I'm gonna fly coach, and if I go first class, it's gonna come out of my pocket. And the reason for that is that I want everybody to know how your money is spent. And by the way, I want to challenge every LULAC council to do the same. Let's change the way we do things. Let's be honest. Let's be integrity. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times when I was growing up, I saw a movie called Risky Business. I don't really remember that movie. And I saw the guy was driving a Porsche. And I wanted to be when I graduated from high school, I bought a Porsche. And then I remember that my wife was in dental school, and she drove the car to there. And the cafeteria workers, who were all Latinas and African American, said, "Do you know what they're saying, Edward? They're saying your husband's a drug dealer. That's how come you got a Porsche." So the perception que somos corruptos, que no tenemos ética, que no somos honestos, we gotta change that. LULAC can do that.
Yeah.
We can do better. And that's what I want to do in terms of our money, that everybody knows where the money comes from, and we hold people accountable. I want to set up something called Rotten Avocados, that we rate the Fortune 500 companies, okay? And if your company, it doesn't have Latinos on your board of directors, if you don't contract from Latinos, and if you don't hire Latinos and Latinas, then you get Rotten Avocados, okay? And we put it on your website, and we put it on the internet, and we let everybody know, and we get them accountable until they start investing in our community. And that's how we're going to raise $100 million, and by getting 1 million members.
Wait. I want us to be fair to both candidates, ladies and gentlemen. Por favorcito, les voy a agradecer mucho. I want to repeat the question for Mr. Morin. Mr. Morin, what are your thoughts and plans to maintain solvency in LULAC's treasury?
So I encourage everyone to go to darylmodine.org and download our moving forward plan where we have it completely detailed and laid out there. But I do want to come back to this whole transparency issue. Last year, we spent over $500,000 in patronage. We spent over $80,000 in first-class tickets, and that's just what we know of. Right now, we are on the verge of insolvency. All of you were supposed to receive a national financial report that was approved by our external auditors. Most of you, when I speak to you, haven't seen that kind of thing. So I will tell you, yes, we will bring those up. So monthly, in English y en Español, you're going to see how we're spending our money. What programs you're eligible for. Because all councils should have access to the programs and the resources that we offer, not just a few. We will provide policy updates so everybody will know what will happen in real time. But the first thing I will do when elected and sworn into office is going to be to call an audit to see where we truly are at, what we're committed to, etc. Our corporate alliance right now has lost faith in us. And I can't say I blame them. And they're standing there waiting for a right decision to be made to influx funds into our organization. Last week there was a convention held that took in over $20 million at a convention. $20 million at a convention. Once we get our act in order, once we start treating each other with dignity and respect, we will start growing and we will have those types of resources. 70 million members, or 70 million Latinos we have in this country, 5,000 members. There's a lot of work to be done, serious work, but we can do it, and we can do it if we're willing to work together.
We have 8 minutes left in this debate, which means you have time for one more question, then closing remarks. I will begin with Mr. Morin. Mr. Morin, what will you do to bring LGBTQ equality to LULAC? How will you enforce this?
Well, I will tell you, and this is part of my policy position. So many times we go ahead and pass policies without talking to all of our members, representatives from all of our members. If you're from Puerto Rico, our leadership in Puerto Rico should have input into the policies we're going to do for Puerto Rico. If you're LGBTQ, I want to have those members speak to us and help establish those policies to the veterans, etc. So I will tell you, I will have at a cabinet level a representative chosen by our LGBTQ community involved in that process, making sure we don't pass anything that isn't there. I got to tell you, against this community all the time. We just issued a policy position where people were being abused coming across the border because they were LGBTQ. This needs to become more vocal. We need to stand up for equally, because we are all equal. So I will have them at a cabinet level, have an input on every position we have.
Thank you. I will repeat the question for Mr. Garcia. The last question. What will you do to bring LGBTQ equality to LULAC? How will you enforce this?
I got to tell you a story. When I got elected to Dallas City Council in 1991, the very next year we had a woman, her name was Martha England, and she applied to become a Dallas police officer. And she was turned down. And she was turned down because she was a lesbian. Okay? And the city council had to take up a debate on whether we would allow a woman who would be excluded from being a police officer because of the person she loved. And I put forward, I'm not gay, but I put forward a proposal to allow her to join the Dallas Police Department. And I was able to get other council members to put it on the agenda. We started the city council meeting at 9 in the morning, and we ended at 4 in the morning, okay? That's how many speakers we had, against and for. And at the end of the day, we passed an ordinance that said, you can't discriminate against anybody because of your race, your background, your religion, or who you love. Now, that was almost whatever 80 years ago, before the dinosaurs still roamed the earth, okay? It wasn't cool to be with the LGBT community then. Elba will remember that an AIDS house was built 2 blocks from where I lived. And my neighbors all said, we cannot have that there because we're going to get AIDS, our kids are going to get AIDS. And I said, no, they're people like us, they need help. And I allowed it. the zoning change to allow that 8th house, which is still there today, to be there. So I will say this, the LGBT community needs to be treated just like everybody else, iguales. That's the goal of LULAC. We're a civil rights organization.
That's right.
We need to fight for the civil rights of everybody. And if somebody in the LGBT community is being discriminated against, LULAC needs to be there. If a Muslim is being denied entrance, we need to be there. If a Latina is being denied the ability to break the glass ceiling, we need to be there.
Right.
LULAC needs to be there on the front lines for everybody, because we're all in this together, all for one and one for all.
Cierto.
It is now time for the closing statement. Since Mr. Morin opened the debate, he will go first in the closing statement. Sir, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. So thank you all once again for your time and for your respect and for coming here and for your commitment to lead and standing up for others. It is time. We've come to that point where we need to recover and reform our organization. We need to reform the way we're advocating. It's not enough to say, we need to do this, we need to do that. We need to really develop a plan to make it a reality. Once again, you could read a very detailed plan on all of this at darylmorin.org, right? And we need to start growing. But we can only start growing. We have the greatest plans in the world, but we can only start growing when we start mutually respecting each other. Amen. We see a democracy today under siege in our nation. But I'll be honest with you, we have many of those same issues right here within our own organization. Where extremism and they put each other against one another. I love my brothers and sisters from Puerto Rico. I love my brothers and sisters from Texas and from California and everywhere else. It's time we stop competing with one another. Time we start supporting one another. We have an 89-year history here, almost 90 years. I think most of you would agree we should be a little further along than where we are. We need to start rising up and training and developing our youth and our young adults. Our young adults are ready to lead. They're of unbelievable capacity. We need to make sure that everybody has the right to vote. Igualdad is the right of every American. And that is something that should not and ever change and should have never been allowed to begin with. From our veterans to our elderly, we can leave no one behind. It is time we love, respect, and support one another. Once we do that, there is no stopping what we can do, whether it's in the street, downtowns on Main Street, or City Hall, or the Congress. Thank you.
Mr. Garcia, you have 2 minutes for your closing comment.
How many of you ever given a grito? ¿Saben qué es un grito?
Yeah.
Cuando tocan la tequila, cuando tocan los mariachis, cuando tocan mi viejo San Juan. Hay un grito. Eso es parte de la cultura, it's part of our culture. And I'm going to tell you about the first grito, the grito de Dolores Hidalgo. When they knew that there was oppression, when they knew that people were being treated wrongly, that there was injustice in the land, hubo un grito del padre Hidalgo. Okay? Ahora LULAC pinta que dar gritos. Okay? We need to do a grito that says that everybody who wants to go to college gets a free, tuition-free university, and that's a grito de LULAC that says we're going to stand up for our young people so they can go to university and college and get their dreams. El grito debe de ser de LULAC. LULAC debe ser un grito que dice que todos los inmigrantes deben de tener el sueño americano. And we stand up and we say, open those cages, free those children, free those immigrants, and let them have the American dream. Just like we let the Irish, the Italians, the Germans, the Jews, and every other person in America find the American dream. Ese grito viene de nosotros. Debe haber un grito that says, those teachers deserve a good pay. The professors deserve a living wage. That we need to raise the minimum wage so that those people that are cleaning those restrooms and picking our crops get a decent wage that they can live from. LULAC dice el grito. El grito debe venir de LULAC, que los derechos civiles de todos se van a respetar. That we're going to be standing up for everybody. And that LULAC is that organization and that voice. El grito debe de venir. Que I want to see that first Latino or Latina president of the United States get sworn in la Casa Café. Vamos a hacer declarations. Okay? In Washington, D.C. Because it's time. Political and economic empowerment is nuestra meta. That's what LULAC is about. That's what every one of you should stand for. And as your national president, I'm going to make sure que we cumplimos con esa meta. En ese García López Sánchez does it. And you want my plan? It's on our website.
Ladies and gentlemen, espérame. It is not often that we, to my knowledge, is this the first debate ever held for this position? All right. In recognition of that, I would like, in the spirit and in the interest of the league, I would like to please ask for your respectful recognition, beginning with all the living presidents of LULAC who are present here today. Will you please stand? Please stand. Damas y caballeros, please bear with me. We're not done. I would like to ask that all of the present and former presidents of all regions in LULAC, please stand or be recognized. All of you who are national vice presidents de las regiones, please stand. They too have served.
Wisconsin y Puerto Rico, estamos juntos.
Oye, doy esta mallita para saludar. Coño, no la vi.
Mírala, qué linda viene. Mírala, qué linda va. Mírala, qué linda viene. Mírala, qué linda va.
Bien. Bien. Igualmente. Una pasión cantidad.
Para